What is up, everybody? Welcome to the newly named Jet Beat podcast. I am your host, Greg Armstrong, editor-in-chief here at theredbeat.com, joined today by my co-host, the Lachlan Edwards of podcasting. People don't forget that you're the Lachlan Edwards of podcasting, Nicole Bersner. Nicole, how are you doing on this fine Saturday morning?
Great. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing wonderful. We got a new name for the show. The season's over. That's good. It's been
Yeah,
over, but
thankfully.
what we're gonna do is kind of break down for the next couple of weeks up until the draft. We're gonna break down, break down who we want the Jets to target in the draft at each position, who we want them to target in free agency, and kind of just give the team a look moving forward. So, are you ready to do this?
Ready as I'm ever going to
All right, so little news and notes. Ryan Clady was released the other day. It saves the Jets about $10 million in cap space. I'm okay with it. I mean, he didn't really do much for the Jets last year, so if they kept him, okay. If they got rid of him, I don't really care. What do you think about the release of Ryan Clady?
be. I had the same exact reaction when I saw it. I was like, okay. Like,
It's almost like I forgot he was on the team.
yeah, basically.
Oh, Ryan Clady, he was a Jet this year. Didn't even know. Jets are looking to re-sign Ben Ajalana, which is fine. But the big news in the Jet world is the Darrelle Revis incident that happened a few nights ago. If you haven't heard about it, it appears, this is the reports, is that he punched not one, but two kids, left them unconscious for roughly 10 minutes. But the backstory, this was at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's no doubt these kids were drinking. A simple slap would knock somebody out unconscious for 10 minutes. So is this the end of Revis as a Jet, do you think?
Yeah, especially if they can get out of his contract.
Yeah. See, I wanted Revis back, but I guess that's not going to happen because
Wow. Were you
he's an idiot.
surprised?
Surprised that he did this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you never hear Revis getting in trouble off the field or anything. What I think it is that these two kids are just kind of being punks. Kind of getting the phone in Revis's face. Revis didn't like it, and what ensued.
Well, I think Revis hates being approached by fans in general, too.
He hates people. He's like
Yeah,
us.
exactly. So I mean, like, I was surprised that it happened, but at the same time, when I read that like they were probably getting in his face, I wasn't surprised because of how much he tries to avoid that.
Right, and he doesn't seem like the type of guy that's just out looking for a fight or whatnot. He just kind of does his own thing, and I think he was provoked, but we'll see what
Probably.
happens. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens in the coming weeks. So let's get right into it. The Jets quarterback situation is a complete dumpster fire right now. No more Ryan Fitzpatrick, though. He's officially off the team. No more. Contract automatically voided, which is probably the best move that Mikey Mack has ever made. Just automatically voiding Ryan Fitzpatrick's contract. We've had 2 years of Fitzmagic, if you want to call it. 1 year of Fitzmagic or 1 year of
Yeah.
Fitztragic. Overall thoughts on the Fitzpatrick period with the Jets?
Oh God.
It was a very turbulent 2 years.
I mean, it was a fun first year. Like, I don't regret that. And then, it's kind of just stayed for too long. But again, I wasn't surprised by what happened the second year. So I don't even know how to explain it.
He's
Just
like
tragic.
He's like that. That person you get with the first. It's like the honeymoon stage is really good. You could see the flaws that are there, but you're like, yeah, I'll avoid it. Things are going great now. And then later on in your relationship, it just goes to hell. All the flaws come out. That's essentially what it was. Fitzpatrick was saved by all of the Jets receivers 2 years ago. Basically, whatever could have gone right went right for the Jets. And this year, they regressed back to the mean. Fitzpatrick was the Fitzpatrick of old, and obviously the Jets season stunk.
Yeah. I mean,
If you had to pick one favorite Fitzpatrick moment from the past 2 years, what would that moment be? Let's end the Fitzpatrick.
you act like I remember a game past 24 hours.
Okay, well, there has to be a moment. The Jets season 2 years ago was one of the most fun Jets seasons ever.
Yeah, and I didn't watch it too much because I just didn't have time.
Oh, were you too busy watching the Green Bay Packers play? Your other team?
No, I wasn't. Thank you very much.
So you don't have one moment?
What's yours? Because maybe it'll like, I don't know. I remember the Dallas Cowboys game. That was pretty
You were
exciting.
at the game. That's my favorite memory. His
Oh,
pass
when
to
you
Decker.
called it.
No, his pass to no,
Oh,
geez,
the
no.
Patriots.
That was Bryce
Okay.
Petty, Nicole. Jesus.
Right.
Yeah, the Patriots game where he hit Decker in the back of the end zone. That's one of
Actually,
my
yeah,
favorite
that's my
Jets movies
favorite
ever.
memory. I don't know how I forgot that, but that's my favorite memory because that was my first game too. So
Literally at the game.
yeah, I know. Thanks for reminding
Um,
me.
we're not going to go into the least favorite moments because the Duke game is an hour
Everything.
and 18 minutes, and we could spend a whole hour and 18 minutes talking about how bad he was.
Yeah.
Next on the list that's not on the roster anymore, or soon to be not on the roster, Geno Smith. Also a very turbulent time with the Jets. Shouldn't have been played in his first year. Rex Ryan decided that Mark Sanchez needed to be in to win the game in the preseason against the Giants. Sanchez hurt his shoulder. Geno Smith thrust into the starting quarterback role. First season was okay, 8-8. Second season, awful. But he didn't have the receivers that any quarterback could win with, besides maybe one Thomas Brady. Third year, it it was like he's got the receivers finally. Let's do this. And then he gets punched over $600, and Fitzmagic comes into fruition. Thoughts on the Geno Smith era, which is likely over. I don't want it to be over, but it's likely over in New York.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it because, like he had such a terrible second year, but again, we had like no players.
When you're
Um,
throwing out Stephen Hill, David Nelson, and Jeff Cumberland, you could pick any Hall of Fame quarterback. You're not winning with those receivers. Decker was there, but like throwing out that awful receiver. I remember watching the Atlanta game. I went back and watched it this summer. Listen to this starting receiver. Yeah, I know. I had a very boring summer. All right. I needed some happiness in my life. Um, Jeff Cumberland, Kellen Winslow Jr., Clyde Gates. That's a name. Stephen
I
Hill
have a signature.
and David Nelson.
I mean, I've never heard a more Hall of Fame worthy group of wide receivers in that
Oh,
group.
Jeremy Curley too. Forgot about
Oh,
him.
I love Curly.
Love Curley. But yeah, you can't win. You can't expect a rookie quarterback to win when you're throwing 30-yard bombs to Stephen Hill and the ball just falls right through his hands. You can't expect to win with guys like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I I'm kind of sad that he's gone, but I feel like I don't have a right to be sad that he's gone because he really didn't do anything. But I still feel like I don't know. I still feel like he could do something.
I want Geno back.
I
I
would
think
take Gino back
I
out of all
think
like yeah.
I think he could win with this roster. Um, I was excited to see. I was all in for Geno to see what he could do 2 seasons ago with the receivers that they had, bringing in Marshall, having Decker, having the running game going. But obviously, he got punched in the face. I think he got kind of wrongfully outed. I mean, he wasn't supposed to play in his first year.
Mm-hmm.
The New York pressure of him having to succeed, I think, was too much for a guy that shouldn't have been playing. Dropped to the second round in the draft, and then didn't get to play at all 2 years ago, except in the Oakland game. And then this year, finally gets a shot, and of course, tears his ACL because Fitzpatrick has some sort of voodoo powers that forces quarterbacks to get injured so that he can keep playing. He will never die.
No. Well, he even had a shot the year prior. Like he was winning that quarterback competition
Oh
until
yeah,
he got punched in the face.
yeah.
So it's like 2 times he had a chance and unfortunately was kind of ousted.
Yeah, and I never really feel bad for professional athletes, but Gino was a guy that I definitely feel bad for.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like I never really got a right shot to do anything, and I thought he had the talent to do it, but maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't. I honestly wish him the best. Unlike Ryan Fitzpatrick, he can go play New York Diva somewhere else.
Yeah.
So the only 2 quarterbacks on the Jets roster right now, Bryce Petty, whose shoulder's hurt, and Christian Hackenberg, who I'm not even sure is an actual human being because
Yeah.
we haven't seen him play and there's been no rumblings of him actually playing. So I honestly think that it was just like a hologram on the sidelines the entire season.
So kind of like Zach Wheeler for the Mets, just like doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, exactly. Just seems to get hurt at like the most inopportune times. Zach Wheeler does.
Yeah.
But Christian Hackenberg, we have no clue what. I mean, he played in the preseason. He was not great. But handing
Well, that was
over,
expected.
yeah, but handing over the reins to a guy. First off, picking him in the second round was an absolute mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the guy had almost undraftable ratings by most scouts. But those pesky Jets thought it'd be good to get him in the second round.
I don't know, man.
Those Jets sneaking in, trying to be like some other big franchise, and just we're gonna get a steal with Christian Hackenberg in the second round. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott putting up great numbers in Dallas. They missed on Derek Carr a few years ago. Like all of these quarterbacks that they've missed on, all in late rounds too. It's not like these guys were top 5, top 10 picks. These are guys that you could get in the later rounds.
I'm honestly convinced, though, if any of them came to the Jets, they'd be terrible.
No. Oh, yeah, 100%. Dak Prescott wouldn't even see the field this year. Derek Carr would be probably released by now. It would, I don't know. This Jet, it's like they don't know how to get any good players or draft any good players.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had an okay like first round with McKagan, but anything past that, I feel like hasn't been too great.
Let me correct you. We've had like okay first rounds the entire duration of the franchise, and the later rounds have just stunk.
But I think that's the problem too. Is I feel like we can get that high round draft pick, but we never get high enough.
No.
To where we can get that get like an Andrew Luck type of player. Like we can never get that high enough. It's only like 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's always like a hope and a prayer that this guy actually turns out to be what the Jets want him to be and what us fans want him to be.
Yeah.
And like this year, there's no really stud QB coming into the draft.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, it always seems like the Jets get these like good draft picks in the years where there's no good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But we'll start with free agency. Give me a guy that you want in free agency that you think would be beneficial to the Jets this year. Throw me a name, Nicole.
Tyrod.
Yes. I'm so in on Tyrod Taylor. Tell me why you want him, Nicole. Tell everybody why you want him.
I don't have a lot to say.
That's what
I know you have a lot to say.
I do.
I don't know. I always liked how he played for the Bills. Like whenever we would versus the Bills with him, like I would actually kind of feel nervous with him, especially with his out of pocket presence and like being able to run the ball. So I feel like he would be a very good. He would contribute a lot to the Jets, and I feel like especially with our offensive line really not being that good at this point, like the ability for him to get out of the pocket is something that we need a lot.
Yeah, he throws a great deep ball, which I don't think I've ever seen.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a Jets quarterback throw a pass past 25 yards that didn't get like tipped or was wobbly or spinning sideways. So the deep threat officially opens, and guys like Robbie Anderson and Quincy Enunwa who can beat you up the field. My guy Robbie Anderson, by the way, who can beat you down the field. It'll be nice to see a guy who doesn't throw it behind him, where the receiver has to turn around, stop his route, and go back and make a spectacular catch. Like you said, he throws a good ball on the run. Geno threw like an okay ball on the run, but it seems like Tyrod very poised in the pocket, but knows when to run, knows when to scramble. Doesn't take too many big hits. Also doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Doesn't fumble the ball a lot. Doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, which again is something that we haven't seen ever. I don't think.
Yeah.
So I want Tyrod. If the Bills release him, they're stupid. They're gonna have EJ Manuel. Like, come on. The only time I've seen EJ Manuel play is when Rex put him in to try to run those stupid, like 4th and 1, try to draw the defense offsides.
Oh, Rex. Gonna miss you.
Yeah, okay. Another name that's out there is Mike Glennon. I
don't know a lot about him, so.
Exactly, that's the thing. Like, do you have a lot of confidence going into the season with Mike Glennon as your starting quarterback? Probably not.
No.
Another name is Brian Hoyer, who is basically just another Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, no, I don't want him.
No. I mean,
That's
last year I would have been okay with taking Hoyer because he'd be a cheaper option than Fitzpatrick, and they wouldn't be on the books for the money that they are with him this year. But yeah, I keep Brian Hoyer away from my team. A big name. I was very big on this guy a couple of months ago. Don't think he's coming here. One, Tony Romo.
he's gonna only go to someone who's in the a quarterback away from a Super Bowl.
Wait, you don't think the Jets are a quarterback away from the Super Bowl?
Haha. But yeah, I think that's the only place he goes, and then or he restructures with Dallas. I have no idea.
I don't think he'll restructure with. I think the guy wants to play, but yeah, an aging quarterback with a lot of injury history, getting behind this offensive line.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something the Jets would do, though.
Yeah, probably.
Let's just put that out there. Like Woody wants to sell tickets, even in London. He'll get Romo. Romo will like break every bone in his back the first preseason game or something, and the season will be done.
Yeah, basically.
Let's move forward to the draft. We'll end it with a couple of guys in the draft. I know, Nicole, I'm going to start calling you the Lachlan Edwards of podcasting, but just an overall expert scout for the draft.
You know what? Thank you. I've been working so hard researching.
I can see it in your eyes. You look very tired. I know you were up very late last night scouting and watching a bunch of tape on these guys.
Mm-hmm.
First guy will start, Mitch Trubisky, quarterback from North Carolina. Do you have anything on Mitch Trubisky?
I have that he has not a lot of college experience.
Right. He's only had 1 year of starting.
And people kind of wonder why he couldn't beat out Marquise Williams before he left. So
right. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things say that he will go in the first top 5, if not top 10, of this year's draft. I've seen a couple of his games. I haven't seen a bunch. I know he's pretty accurate. He can throw a good ball. Got a big arm strength, which again is very good for the Jets. Something that we haven't seen, I think, ever. Geno had a pretty good deep ball, but we just never got the chance to show it. Like you said, negative. He's a 1 year starter. What can we really tell from only having 1 year of being starting in college? I mean, NFL is a whole different game. Also, not very good at throwing on the run with this Jets. With this Jets offensive line, it's a big question mark. We don't know how these guys are going to play. Mangold is a question mark of even coming back. Although we got my guy, Brian Winters. Could probably stop anybody.
Yeah.
You know how they do those Madden things where every person on the team is like one player?
Yeah. Brian
Winters would be my player.
Okay. Yeah.
Just have him block everybody. He worked a lot out of the shotgun in college, which I can't recall a time where I saw the Jets not run a play out of the shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Even on like 4th and 1 from the half-yard line. They would still run out of the shotgun. Empty set.
Yeah.
It's just like picturing 4th and 1 from the goal line with an empty set, just dropping back the pass, throwing the inevitable fade route to someone that's either going to get intercepted or dropped.
I don't want to talk about it now.
So I'm out on not too keen on Mitch Trubisky, aka the Jets will draft him. Next up, Deshaun Watson, national championship winning quarterback from Clemson. Do you have anything for the people on Deshaun Watson?
Scouts wonder if he can maintain accuracy when the first read isn't open, and especially when in the pocket.
Basically another Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, so sounds familiar.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a really good leader. I don't know the last time that the Jets quarterback was an actual leader. I know Sanchez wasn't, Fitzpatrick wasn't. Maybe we have to go back to Chad.
Good old Chad.
Good old Chad, who couldn't throw a football past 11 yards if his life depended on it. He's really good in the pocket. He can run. Has a pretty good pocket presence. Has a good arm. Not a very accurate deep ball. Also throws a little bit of good amount of interceptions. When I've seen of him, sometimes he reminds me of Taj Boyd,
Oh God.
the famous Jets QB, who was really good from like 15 yards on, but anything under 15 yards was just like over his head. It was basically like me playing quarterback. It was
Yeah.
Taj Boyd. If they wanted to throw, that's what they should have done. The Jets should have signed me for anything under 15 yards because it would be bad, and then Taj Boyd could just throw the 15-yard bombs, 15-yard or more bombs. Like that's what it looked like. It was like me throwing it past 15 yards. At the guy's feet, over his head.
I don't have any recollection of him. Like I know who he is, but I don't remember watching him at all.
I watched him at training camp, and
Yeah.
it was just bad. Eyewitness report, he was bad. But like Deshaun Watson's a guy that I'd be willing to put my chips in.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be mad if we drafted him. I'm not necessarily looking for a quarterback in the draft, but like if we had to draft, like if we were to draft one and no other choice, I would want him.
Yeah. He's like, and he seems like a good leader. I think that's something that you can't teach. And I think that would be really good for a Jets team who's been looking for a vocal leader. I feel like he can be that vocal leader in the huddle and command the huddle like a veteran quarterback. Yeah. Last guy we're going to talk about, Jets Twitter abuzz over this guy, Patrick Mahomes, quarterback from Texas Tech. What do you have for us on Patrick Mahomes? I don't even know if you have nothing. Nothing on Patrick Mahomes.
No.
The second.
Nothing.
Okay, Nicole. Well,
I have stuff on DeShone Kizer.
Let's talk about DeShone Kizer. You give us the rap on DeShone Kizer, and I'll talk about Patrick Mahomes.
Oh God.
He goes to Notre Dame.
Well, yes. I mean, I haven't really seen too many good things about him other than he has like the highest ceiling according to some people, aka Mayock, but how much can you trust of him?
Yeah.
But he was replaced at 2 different schools and he got removed from in a fourth quarter of games at least 2 to 3 times, which doesn't bode well for us, especially because, you know, Fitzpatrick's favorite quarter was always the fourth quarter. But I don't want him.
Okay.
That's my verdict. That's it.
Perfect. Mahomes, he's pretty good size. He's 6'3", 230. He can make throws on the run. I guess that's what we're looking for, is guys who can make throws on the run.
Yeah, basically.
He's got a cannon for an arm. I mean, the guy can just lay the ball out there. That's also what I want. He's also can throw good on the run, too. Throw cannons on the run. He does make good decisions. Hallelujah. He does make quick reads as well. And Fitzpatrick's quick reads were, I'm going to look at my first guy and just wait for the route to develop. That was a quick read for Fitzpatrick. And a guy who can make quick reads, see slant routes open, and just hit it is something that I would just lose my mind over.
So what's the bad?
He played at Texas Tech, and it's similar to like the Bryce Petty offense, where it was very easy to make the throws. It was very easy to make reads. Everything was kind of like you can make a ton of reads because the guys are open with the way that the offense is. He's got inconsistent mechanics, which I'm not inclined to like talk about that because I'm not looking at a guy's feet from where like I am. I know that's your area of expertise, looking at those kind of things, the little scout that you are. But the college offense thing scares me, especially from what we saw with Bryce Petty.
Yeah, so you don't.
So if the Jets drafted
him,
okay. Not at 6. I think if they got him in a later round, I would be okay with it, but not at 6.
Okay.
Not at 6. All right, that's our quarterback. The Jet Beat quarterback offseason, episode 1. Next week, let's dive into the running back situation because there's a lot of talk about running backs at 6. I personally will kill myself if the Jets draft a running back at 6.
Did they take Fournette?
I will kill myself.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, well.
Don't hold me to that. Please don't hold me to that. All right, we will see you guys next week to talk about the Jets running back situation. Peace out.